Hi everyone, Balthany Outtano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Gunna album, A Gift and a Curse. Georgia rapper Gunna, he's back, new album, and it's one that understandably has been a point of controversy and debate because in December of last year, Gunna was freed from jail after taking a plea deal, which freed him of any charges he was facing in relation to the RICO case that rounded up many of the people from his label Young Stoner Life Records, most importantly its founder Young Thug, one of the most influential rapper-singers of this generation from Atlanta. So of course the fact that Gunna walked, combined with the videotaped interactions he had with the judge in the courtroom, yeah, that has stirred some controversy. People saying he's a rat, he's a snitch, he's pushing plea. Personally, I'll say I don't entirely blame the guy. I think most people would do what he did in his position. And at this point, it's not entirely clear how much Gunna's statement and plea really contributed to any one person going to prison. I mean, for sure, his statement did reinforce the idea that YSL is a criminal organization, which is kind of an essential argument to make if this is going to be a RICO case. But of the charges and evidence that were released to the public before all that, it was kind of already very apparent that Young Thug and numerous other members of YSL were screwed. Regardless of those details, though, a lot of the narrative around Gunna with this has been set, and I suppose going into this record there is an expectation for him to respond and address everything that's been going on. But in reality, Gunna actually has some options here. First off, he could say, you know what, I'm out. I'm done. I got out of this thing by the skin of my teeth, and there's now too much baggage and negativity attached to this whole, music thing. I'm going to start fresh, do something else. However, I think the temptation to milk more money out of this mediocre rap career for Gunna is too great. He's not going to do that. Secondly, he could also turn over a new leaf artistically and say, you know what, I'm going to hone my skills, write some legit bangers, just move away from this topic, this subject matter. Look at a guy like Rick Ross. Does he rap every day about the time he used to be a CO? No. Does he rap constantly about what people think about that portion of his life? No, he just does his thing. He focuses on the current and the now and gives people what they want to hear on his tracks. And for sure, Gunna has the opportunity to make a bunch of hits and just really snappy songs that don't deal in the narratives and lifestyle that he's led up until this point and just, shift focus. However, Gunna's never really been much of a vocalist, a songwriter, a sharp lyricist. His flows really aren't that catchy most of the time either. In order to maintain people's attention on this record, he really has no other option other than to give people what they want here in terms of him just addressing this issue. So that brings us to the third and dumbest option, which is the one that Gunna took, and that's face the controversy head on and try to convince an inconvincible crowd of people that they did not see and hear what they saw and heard. And also that he's the victim and everybody switched on him for no reason and he didn't switch on anybody. And I have no earthly idea why he thinks the material on this record is going to be convincing to anybody who is that deeply invested in the politics of snitching and not snitching. For sure, what he says explicitly is true in terms of the fact that he didn't take the stand. There was no point where he stood up in the courtroom, pointed his finger and said, "It's him, he did it, I saw the whole thing." By that same token, he contradicts himself just seconds later on the same song, saying lawyers and the DA did some sneaky shit, I fell for it, on my P's and Q's because this time I be prepared for it. First off, since when do you trust cops? And second, I thought you didn't do X or Y or Z. What did you get tricked into doing if you didn't do the thing you got tricked into doing? And when you made the public statement that you did on the plea that you took, you seemed pretty acutely aware of what it was and how it would benefit you. So now I feel like I am being spoken to like I'm an idiot. And I don't even care that he walked. It's cool that he did what was in his best interest to do. But this whole song and dance of feel bad for me, I didn't say anything, oh my god, I'm the one bad things are happening to is so pitiful it's sickening. Like, I wouldn't personally call what Gunna did explicitly snitching, but at this point, it would be more honorable for him to hop on a beat and go, I'm a snitch, I'm a snitch, I'm a snitch. I snitch in the day. I snitch in the night. I'd snitch on my mom if the sentence was life. Seriously, it's sad to hear him try to spend all this time flipping the narrative when this is not the kind of content people went to Gunna for anyway. People just want to hear him repeat some silly, catchy refrains over a dumb trap beat, push P, and that's it. Instead, what we get on this album are a bunch of super bland, overly dramatic instrumentals loaded with wailing guitars and pretty piano keys like it's a Polo G record, but Gunna doesn't really have the voice or the melodic range or the emotional expressiveness to pull this vibe off because he's as lifeless and as mediocre and as uninteresting as ever, even when rapping about one of the hardest things that he's ever done in his life, I imagine. But yeah, even the music desperately reads of like, oh, it's serious, guys. This is Gunna in his serious mode. Oh, look at him. He's got his serious face on. And it's weird because I see some people on the internet like eating it up. Gunna is rapping for his life on this album. No, Gunna already saved his life in the courtroom. What he's doing now is saving face, and he's not doing a good job of it. Yeah, again, even with the subject matter of this record generally being more serious, more grave, the vocals just still sound very run-of-the-mill. The flows are recycled and super repetitive. No moment on any song feels any more emphasized or more important than any other moment because Gunna is just so one-dimensional of a performer. Outside of him getting into some specifics here and there, there's not really a whole lot to go over on this very forgettable LP, even with 15 tracks and 45 minutes of runtime. Aside from the woe is me stuff, there are a few songs that sort of see him attempting a banger, be it on Cash Shit, but even this track is so washed out and basic, I can't imagine it hanging around for very long. There's also Fuck You Mean, which I thought was kind of catchy. However, a lot of that appeal kind of came down to the super snappy group vocals on the refrain, not so much Gunna's rapping itself. But I suppose if Gunna is going to have any staying power past this point, songs like that are going to make way more sense. Not so much this attempt to gaslight us all en masse through song. However, I question whether or not Gunna has his shit together enough to even pull that off long term. There are moments where I'm like, how did he make this record and what conditions did he make it under? Because on the song P Angels, you can very clearly hear the hook vocals are copied at several different points of the song, 28, 132, 236. And the reason I know this is because lodged in between the same lyrics every time is the sound of a smoke detector beeping because the battery is low. Bro, where are you recording these vocals where you can audibly hear a smoke detector beeping? Like, who on the production side was like, yeah, that smoke detector beep, yeah, leave that in. With this record, I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all. And maybe there was a small part of me that was like, oh, well, maybe because like there's all this serious shit going on, he'll like really say something of substance. Maybe it will like really give him a lot to rap about and unpack personally, but that just was not the case on this very boring, very uninteresting, very flat, very lifeless, very desperate and sad record. I'm feeling a decent to strong 1 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Gunna, forever.